United States. And that's really important for those students and faculty that want to visit UMKC or come to school at UMKC, because it's much cheaper to come to Kansas City, live in Kansas City, and study in Kansas City than it is Los Angeles or New York. It's considerably cheaper than either any of the coastal cities. Next. So if you were in Los Angeles, it would be about $2,000 per month for a one-bedroom apartment. And for New York, it would be even more, $2,700 a month. In Kansas City, it's about $850 a month. And so you can see it's much, much cheaper. The food is cheaper, the housing is cheaper to live in Kansas City. So Kansas City itself is about 2 million people. That's not necessarily a large city in Indonesian standards, but it's one of the top 15 cities in the United States. But more importantly, it is number 2 for the highest paying jobs with the lowest cost of living. So there's a large differential between what you get paid and what it costs to live, which gives you the opportunity to have more discretionary capital funding for you to spend on yourself. It's also the city that is ranked number 1 for the number of engineers and computer scientists per capita in the entire United States. So there are more engineering companies, more engineering jobs, more engineering students, and people working in engineering in Kansas City than anywhere else per capita in the United States. From our campus, you can be in $21 billion companies within 20 minutes or 20 miles of our campus. Many of those are civil engineering firms. 3 of the largest civil engineering firms in the country, in the United States, are located in Kansas City. The city itself is really beautiful. This is called Country Club Plaza, and it's a shopping center which is located within 5 minutes of our campus. And so lots of students spend time at the plaza, either eating or shopping or having a good time. Next. That's kind of a little bit about Kansas City, and we can talk more about that if you have questions. But this is a picture of our campus, or part of our campus. We do have a College of Arts and Sciences, Biological Sciences, Law, Education, Music and Dance, Management, and School of Computing and Engineering. And I have those in gold for a reason. We do a lot of different programs with the Block School of Management that have to do with engineering management, but also entrepreneurialism and technology transfer for anyone who has research ideas that they want to turn into a company. They work with that school. Next. We also have a health science campus, which is located off about 5 minutes from our main campus, and it has dentistry, medicine, nursing, and pharmacy. And the reason that's important is that about 20% of our research inside the School of Computing and Engineering is actually done with dentistry, medicine, and pharmacy. And in fact, our civil engineering program has a large program with the School of Dentistry where they are actually looking at the jaws and the bones and the teeth as structures. So they're part of structural engineering, and they do a lot of work with new biodevices, new materials, and analyzing dental structures. Next. So the School of Computing and Engineering has about $42 million in research. And why is that important? Well, if one of the students comes and wants to work on a research project that has funding, they can actually get part of their tuition paid for, if not all of it, and some of their living expenses. Now, to do that, you're going to have to spend that full year at UMKC for anyone to really put you on their projects, or maybe to think about that ahead of time, start working with the faculty at UGM to start working on research projects together. But there's a large amount of research dollars. We are the largest research unit on the UMKC campus. We typically have students that are trying to build their own companies inside our school. 15 startup companies is pretty common inside our school, where they have an idea and they're trying to be an entrepreneur and make it into a company. The School of Computing Engineering also gives out $2.5 million in scholarships, and that's really important for you as students because 2 million of that goes to international students. We inside the School of Computing Engineering want to have as many international students as we can from a variety of different countries. And so we actually have typically about 400 international students from 80 different or from 30 different countries. And the university as a whole has about 1,200 international students from 80 different countries. And so we want to make sure that our school has an international flavor because many of the companies in Kansas City are internationally known. There's at least one company that I mentioned a minute ago, one of the civil engineering companies that has 2 or 3 projects going on in Indonesia alone. Most of them are power plant designs or have to do with infrastructure. Many structural engineers. So there's opportunities to be working in a company or interning in a company in Kansas City or working on a project in Indonesia. So that's really important. All of our engineering programs are ABET accredited: civil engineering, electrical, mechanical, computer science, and information technology. And keep in mind, inside each one of those different degrees, there's a variety of different emphasis areas. So in civil engineering, we have structural engineering, we have hydraulics and hydrology, we have environmental engineering, we have construction, we have a variety of different things, and we'll get to those in just a minute. Next. Also have lots of different things for the students to do. So we have 15 different student teams with 20 professional organizations, everything from hackathons to the steel bridge competition to Baja buggies, concrete canoe, just about anything that a student might want to be involved in, they can do that. And that's really important because it's important when you come to the US and study in the US that you spend as much time as possible with the other students from the United States, the faculty, and these student teams are a great way to do that. By the way, that is the building you're looking at. That is one side of the School of Computing and Engineering. We'll look at the new building in just a few minutes. Next. If that's not going to work, we can skip that. So our faculty, we have about a student to faculty ratio of about 30 to 1. As I mentioned, we have about $42 million in research that's ongoing at any given point in time. We have that money comes from a variety of different locations: the National Institute of Health, National Science Foundation, the Department of Defense, Department of Transportation, Naval Research, Department of Energy, Air Force, NASA, the U.S. Economic Development Agency, a lot of different family foundations. Down at the very bottom, you see B&B is Black and Veatch. That's the company that has the different projects in Indonesia. Ash Grove Cement, one of the largest cement producers in the entire world. Commerce Banks, Honeywell, Mada. And the students can be involved in any of those research projects if they really want to be. Next. So in civil engineering, as I mentioned before, we have undergraduate degrees, master's degrees, and doctoral degrees in all of these areas: structural engineering, environmental engineering, geotechnical, water resource engineering, construction, materials. We are adding a degree in construction engineering, project, infrastructure, and construction management are all possible places for students to get advanced degrees in the master's or doctoral levels. We just built a brand new research center. It's a $32 million research facility that opened in 2020. So you can see the long building off to the right with the orange roof. That's the old engineering building, and the new building is the piece that is sticking out towards you. And that is the structural engineering lab that's down at the bottom on your right. And so this building is nothing but research laboratories and some educational laboratories and student space. There's no offices. It's just equipment and laboratories. So we have a virtual and augmented reality facility that has about $1.6 to $2 million worth of equipment. And the civil engineering faculty and research projects are using that extensively for everything from the things in the dental school that I mentioned to looking at corrosive environments for bridges, looking at digitized information systems from GIS. So a variety of different things. We have, please. So we also have the Structural and Construction Materials Laboratory, which is down in the bottom right of that facility. It's a 2-story high bay facility, which is where we would have structural components. We will have a shake table in the near future. We will be testing all kinds of materials, but it's capable of taking in an 18-wheel truck with any kind of specimen that we want to test. We have renewable energy and power electronics and smart grid
Ya,
technology.
berarti emang
We have
segitu.
state-of-the-art 3D printing facility with about $1.2 million worth of 3D printing capabilities. We can 3D
Coba
print
buatnya.
everything from plastics and resins to
Hmm,
translucents to rubber to carbon fiber to
apa ya?
cement to titanium.
Coba
So
di
we have 3D printers that
rectangle
can do all of those
atau
things.
kalau biar
A
nggak ribet
total of
kan
about
di
10
ini aja
different
pakai garis
printers,
biasa aja.
all available for the students and researchers to use.
Iya, pakai
We
lem
also
biasa
have 2
aja.
bio printers that print bio tissue as well as bio scaffolding. We have a maker space where the students can come in and build
Aku
things. They can
aku
weld, they can
aku
drill, they
lupa.
can
Itu kayaknya
saw
mesti
things, they can
pakai
cut it, and they
tanda
can
add
build it
dulu di
into
depannya sebelum
anything that they want. The
input
Baja Buggy is a prime
ukuran.
example.
Tapi bisa
But
jadi
this new
enggak gitu.
facility just opened up in August of this year.
Bisa jadi iya, bisa jadi
Next.
enggak.
So every international student that comes
Wir.
from one of our partner institutions gets a Dean's International Scholar Award. And that means that for every semester that you're at UMKC taking a full load of classes, you get $4,000 per semester. So we're trying to make it very affordable. If you remember back at the beginning of the presentation, I said I give away $2 million to international students. This is how I do that. By using having the International Scholars Award, each student gets $8,000 a year, which gets their tuition rates to be very close to what our state students pay. And again, what we really want is to have that diversity of international students. And so we try to make it as affordable as possible to come to UMKC. Next. If you come and are at UMKC for a year, there's a possibility for you to be able to do internships and jobs inside Kansas City. And we'll tell you more about how to do that in a little bit. They're very welcoming to international students. As I mentioned before, almost every company on this page, with the exception of one or two, have international projects or international offices. And they're very welcoming to all international students. So we have about 80 students doing what's called curricular practical training, meaning 80 international students are interning in these companies. Many of them have graduated, so 524 of those graduates are doing optional practical training where they're actually working in those companies for the next 3 years, at which point then they can decide whether they are going to go back to their home country or apply for a green card so they could continue working in the United States. So there's just lots of opportunities here in Kansas City. And all those companies are located in Kansas City. Most all of those are multi-billion-dollar companies. Black and Beach, the one I mentioned about having projects inside Indonesia, is about a $6 or $7 billion company each year. Next. So we have lots of different partnerships, but with UGM, we focused on these two types of partnerships. The one on the right is the dual degree partnership program. The one on the left is 2 degrees, but it's a little bit different. So I'll talk about that first. It's called the 3+1+1 program. You can attend your home university for 3 years, 1 year at UMKC, and transfer the credits back to get a BTech type degree from your home institution, UGM. And then 1 more year gets you a master's degree at UMKC. That program allows the student to stay and do STEM OPT for 3 years. In other words, working in a company for 3 years in the United States. The program on the right, the 1+1+0.5 program, would be the dual degree program that Dr. Andreas talked about, essentially, where you would spend a year in doing master's work at your home university. You would come to UMKC for a year and work on your thesis and on some more coursework. Then you would most likely go back to UGM for half a year. There may be some slight changes to that. We could possibly rearrange those, but essentially it's about a 2.5-year program, but you get 2 master's degrees. So on the 3+1+1, you get 1 bachelor's degree from your home institution and a master's degree from UMKC. On the second program, the 1+1+0.5 program, you get a master's degree from UMKC and one from UGM. Next. Here you can see if you were doing the 3+1+1, the first year would be at undergraduate tuition rates, and it's estimated to be about $15,000 for you to come for one academic year at UMKC. On your graduate programs, it's a little bit more expensive because graduate credits are a little more expensive, but you usually take less. So it works out to be about the same. So $15,000 to $20,000 per year if you wanted to do a graduate program. But you can see the $8,000 worth of scholarship in both programs. It doesn't matter whether you're an undergraduate or a graduate program. You do have to pay the health insurance. There's no way around that in the United States. We want to make sure the international students are safe and healthy, especially in these times. But that's essentially the cost. And it's really going to be about $15,000 probably in each case, both for undergraduate and graduate. Next. Okay, so I'm going to let Juan take over and tell you a little bit about the admission requirements, and then I'll hang around to answer some questions.
So Dean Chulen, before I start, is the slides right? Did you cover all the research in civil engineering? Oh, you were muted.
We did. We covered it. Essentially, we do research in structural engineering. We do research in environmental engineering, geotechnical engineering, water resources engineering. We do research in some construction materials and construction research. The research projects we do are quite varied. Everything from sustainable concrete to water filtration systems to storm sewer and sanitary sewer optimization, corrosive materials and stopping corrosion in reinforcement in concrete, bridge girders. So you have to kind of go out and look at all the different research areas we have. Inside civil engineering, we have probably 20 different researchers doing 20 different types of research that the students can look to see, okay?
Thank you. So for the admission requirements, so for our partner university, we trying to make it kind of simple and easy for the students to apply. And then, so if you pass your average score above 70%, then you will get admission automatically. So translated to GPA, it will be around 3.0. But because you are from the best university in Indonesia, so if you are a little bit kind of less than that, please connect with me or Novia. Let us know. So we don't want to make the kind of this thing to pretend you pretend you come to UMKC. And also for English score, right now, if you have TOEFL score, as far as your score is above 75, you will get admission. And as well as IELTS, you have to get 6.0 and plus. And all bands have to be 5.5 above that. So for example, like in writing or speaking, all of it cannot be, each of that cannot be lower than 5.5. And right now, because the global pandemic, a lot of students say, oh, my TOEFL exam have been postponed, or I cannot take that. Then there's another option. We kind of accept Duolingo. So Duolingo score is new. You can take it online, and you just pay $40. I think it's kind of the cheapest compared to TOEFL and IELTS. And as far as you pass 100, you will get admission. Or the last part, if you pass our UMKC English test level. For example, you pass level 4, you will get admission to our 3+1+1 program directly. And for dual master program, if you pass level 5, you will get admission directly. So if you have question like where I can take the UMKC AI English test, please reach out to Novia or Joy after the presentation. But if you already have TOEFL planned or you took the IELTS already, so you can use the score already. So your GRE will be waived no matter you joined the 3+1+1 program or the dual master program. We waive your GRE because we believe that for the students who already been in UGM, your maths have to be the best, right? So that's why we kind of waive your GRE score. And also, you say, I
Peringkat
don't
itu tuh
want to
untuk
join
ini
any
mah,
of this program.
untuk fakultas ekonomi.
I'm senior year
Peringkat yang tadi kakak
already,
bilang.
and maybe I just want to apply to UMKC, come to our master degree.
Coba
Then
yang
you
di
just
sana.
need to provide your 6
coy?
semesters transcripts, and you, as far as you meet our admission requirements, you will be admitted to our master degree directly too. And also, some students may have question like, what about I just study at UMKC for 1 semester or 1 year? I don't need UMKC's degree at all. What's the admission requirements? Then it will be, you don't have to meet those requirements because you don't need to have UMKC degree. So you can ask Joy. So what's the requirement for you to study at UMKC as visiting student? So right now is the best time to apply to UMKC. And if you apply now, so get everything ready, then you will be enrolled into the fall semester in 2021. So you can come on campus next year. But I know some international students worry about the global pandemic, right? So if you want to watch or your parents kind of rather let you watch a little bit, then you can choose study online. So you can study online for 1 semester and then come to UMKC campus in spring 2022. So which is kind of even better solution for the international students, because this way you don't need to kind of worry about whether the kind of US embassy kind of open in time. And also you can save some living expense, right? So we are open. As far as when you apply to UMKC, you let our staff know about your plan. So right now, is kind of flexible for you. And I know that some students already ask questions. That's very good. If you, while I'm talking, you still have questions or I didn't say it clearly enough, please type in the chat bar. And also you can type in Indonesian language so that Novia can translate that, right, for us. And so application process is very simple and easy. You don't need to kind of trying to go to the website and see how to apply to United States universities online. It's very simple. As far as you have a cell phone, you scan the QR code. So if you have a cell phone now, you can screenshot the picture. This is the kind of QR code. You just scan it. There will be a simple, easy survey for you to answer. After you answer that, submit it. Then our international affairs, student affairs office staff will email you. So make sure you checking your email. So the most important thing is when you do this survey, you leave a kind of active email address so that we can connect with you. Okay, so application process is easy. Just scan it. Our staff will reach out to you and you set up an online account, pay the application fee, and then upload documents based on the requirements. And we just need 3 documents easy. So one is transcripts. The second would be financial statement. And then the third would be your passport. So if you say, I don't have a passport now yet, should I wait until I get my passport to start this process? No, you don't. You can start now and finish as far as by next April, you will have enough time, okay? So students may have question about what the application deadline is. So as far as you get everything submitted by the end of April, you will be good. Okay, if some students say, oh, I don't have my English score until May, what should I do? So talk to Joy or Novia if you face any difficulty. We will try our best to help you, okay? So any issue you face, there's kind of a Novia, Joy, and me, we can help you. Options for your study at UMKC. So option one, you can come to campus next fall. And the second option, you can take online class for 1 semester and then join in spring 2022. Or if you're concerned or your parents concerned about the global pandemic, then you can delay your study. So for example, if you applied, get admission, and you tell us, oh, you want to delay coming to UMKC, that's fine. Just let us know, okay? We will try to make everything work for you. And cost, I don't know whether you care about this or not. If you take 1 semester study at home online, then yes, for sure, you can save some money. And also the final part is the summer program, which we will launch next year. It's a kind of interdiscipline summer program. We are excited about this because you may heard about VR technology. I don't know whether you play VR video game. I'm kind of VR fan. So UMKC worked with the biggest global architecture design company named Populous. So Populous actually designed 1/4 of the global stadiums. And so we will work with the architecture's designer. And if you join this program, you will learn AR, VR skills. And then you will know how to kind of make a showroom to your audience. But why VR is important to civil engineering? Because right now, some civil engineering firms starts to use this technology. So besides that, there is a kind of machine learning. So there's also some interdisciplinary courses. We kind of encourage you to study because right now it's a trend. So the civil engineers can use this type of technologies to do their job even more efficient. So I think if you have question about those kind of interesting areas, our Dean Truman is here to answer your questions. He is the expert in this area. So that's pretty much about our programs, and we really welcome you to come to Kansas City. Okay, that's it.
Okay, what an enlightful presentation. Thanks to Dean Truman and Miss Ding. And the next session is question and answer session. So I would like to honor Miss Ding to lead the Q&A session, and Joy also help us to do that because she already collected the questions from the chat box. So yeah, we could start. Maybe for the participants, for the students, if you have any questions, please turn on your camera and your microphone. You could ask directly to Dean Truman or Miss Ding, or maybe to Dr. Andreas also.
Yeah, I saw a question talking about, the kind of
Or
third
maybe
semester. Is that third semester, or you are in the kind of the third year in structural engineering at UGM? So I don't know exactly know the student's question, but can the students kind of say more?
Joy maybe can help to explain.
Yes.
I was actually talking with him, and he's more likely because he's already in the third semester, and then because the master program is more like the first year in UGM, the second year in UMKC. So just like, is that possible to catch up with that? Or because like the final semester, there is students supposed to come back to UGM to finishing. Will the third semester actually work as the fifth semester? Because he,
So,
yes.
so Joey, I think it would be fine to come for 1 year to UMKC or maybe slightly less and get our degree. I just don't know how that works with Indonesian, the Ministry of Education there. If they're allowed to finish the 2 degrees at UMKC, we could make that happen.
Gotcha.
Actually, yes. I mean, like, as the Dr. Andreas explained, like at least the students finish like 50% of their credits in Indonesia, and then they can go study abroad. Like they, for the dual degree program, they cannot take the like full or more than 50% in a university partner, but they have to finish at least 50% here, and they also can do the research or the thesis in Bahasa or in English, that at least it's how to say, like it's according to the requirement in UGM, and UGM can accept the thesis.
Yeah, the one good thing about this is if for this particular student or anyone in that situation is if they finish their degree in the United States and
Yeah.
and then also get the UGM degree, they
Yes.
could stay and actually do practical training. As long as they
Yeah.
were here for 1 full year, 2 full semesters, they could actually go to work at a company and do practical training at the end of that
Yes.
year. That makes sense?
Yes, and actually he has another question. It's more likely because in UGM they have to do a thesis to get the degree, but in UMKC actually students could have option. But I want to make sure in these programs, do they have to have a thesis for UMKC or they have to optimize only doing the classes and get the credit hours?
They do not have to have the thesis for UMKC, and definitely not if they're writing one for UGM. They would never have to do 2, right? And so we actually, in this dual degree program, so if they're writing a thesis for UGM, we can do this with a course option where they just take courses from us.
Okay.
So the
Thank you.
So if the students join a dual DDP program, dual master program, so based on our discussion and agreement, the students have to finish a thesis supervised by both UGM's faculty and UMKC's faculty. And this student's case is unique, which is different. So I don't want to confuse the other students if they have interest about DDP program. So if we can take any master students from UGM if they have interest to study at UMKC and gain our degree. But so for this student's case, that might be not DDP program, but it's more like another program that they we can make it work. They can come to UMKC and we will work with UGM faculty, civil engineering department directly so that we can offer the students both degree. But usually the DDP program, yes, 1 year at UGM, 1 year at UMKC, and then the last final semester, you have to go back to Indonesia. But this case, these students might come to UMKC and finish 1 year and then get both degrees. So this is kind of special case. We need to work with Dr. Inten together to make it work.
Yes, thank you for your explanation, Miss Wang.
Juan, can
I
I?
think that student's question, I think Fauzi Darmawan, yes, that situation is actually he is already doing his thesis. Yeah, he is already doing his thesis, and then he already has the supervisors from the UGM side. So his question is whether he can go to UMKC and then only taking the courses. So I think, yeah, about this question, this one is, we never discussed about this before, because our current scenario, yeah, the students must do the first year at UGM and then the second year at UMKC. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes. So for these students, from our dean's perspective, he can come and we can transfer more credit hours to UMKC, and so that he can still get UMKC's master degree, if I kind of translate right from Dean Truman.
It would add on to his already completed degree at UGM.
Yeah.
Hey Juan, can you let me share? The screen, or can I share?
Yeah, you can share it because I transfer my host to you already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
There's another question. Is there any other funding institution which UMKC collaborate with? So funding institution. So I don't quite sure about the question, but I can try to answer you. So funding, there are two types of funding. One is funding institution for research, and the other would be kind of funding for the students. So I don't know which the students is talking about, but as Dean Truman explained earlier, the funding institution UMKC work with, we work with the government funding institution, like we have funds from Department of Transportation and Department of Energy and NASA, US Air Force, National Science Foundation. Those are all the kind of fund we get fund institution. And then we also work with companies. So the companies also fund UMKC research. But if the student's question is about whether we have fund to sponsor or support students, we have different fund available for the students. Like the students can be a kind of tutor. So we will pay, I think $12 per hour. And also we have computer lab. You can kind of actually work there on campus. So those funds actually from UMKC. So we do pay students some money. And if you do doctor degree at UMKC, all your study will be funded by UMKC. You don't need to pay tuition fee, and you will gain some money, like $1,200 per month to study. Yes.
Miss Wan, sorry. I just remember, I think yesterday during our internal meeting, one of our colleague asked question, for our student who is interested to do the double degree for the master program, is that possible that the student can be a research assistant? Research assistant, is that possible? And then like, maybe you can explain like how much is it?
It's
Thank you.
possible. It would be really important that we start building the relationships between the faculty, because that would be best served if we knew what project that student was working on and making sure that it fits into one of our research projects. And so as we develop this partnership, that will work well, but we just need to know your faculty and their research projects and the projects the students are working on before they come. So the answer is yes, but it's not as simple as just saying we have one for every student, right?
Okay, thank you for your explanation, Dean Truman. For any other students, do you have any more questions? You can turn on your video and then you can ask the question directly.
Sure.
Ada mahasiswa yang mau bertanya, silahkan. Untuk semua mahasiswa. Jadi silahkan bertanya langsung ya. Dinyalakan videonya, kemudian bisa langsung bertanya.
So this is the new structural engineering lab. I just thought I would throw it up for people to see. This is the structural floor, and all the new hydraulic testing equipment will show up in late December. So we'll have it up and functioning here in before the new year. So that one that's nice. This is kind of the interior of the building. This is actually the student team space for the Baja buggy, the steel bridge, the concrete canoe. Almost all the civil engineering projects can be done inside this space. It looks a little different now. It's all full of equipment. This was before we had the equipment installed. And this is a student team space as well. This is a clean room for those people that want to work in nanomaterials. So just trying to show you, there's some lots of little pictures. This is going to be our 3D printing room. This is all the 3D printers still in boxes, right? So the main thing is this is the 3D printers, some of the ones we purchased, but it's all real. This is the AR VR lab that's going to be in place. Power electronics, that's actually the room on the right is a flight simulator room. Motion capture lab. So lots of different things in the new building. So the key is there's lots of toys, right? Lots of equipment. So maybe that'll get some questions. No questions from anyone?
Yes, for the students, for all of students, do you still have more questions?
From the faculty?
Dimas mau tanya, Dimas?
Hello.
Dimas silakan
Excuse
kalau mau
me,
tanya.
can.
Yes.
Hello. My name is Dimas, and I would like to have one question regarding life as an international student in UMKC and in Kansas City in general. How vibrant is the community? Is there any kind of particular activities and community that do you think every international student living and studying there should attend? That would be my question. Thank you.
Okay, you cut out a couple times, so I didn't get the whole question. So did someone get that question, or could we ask it again?
Mas Dimas bisa diulang mungkin, Mas?
Mungkin diketik aja ya.
I think he's going to type it for us.
Okay. Don't get it wrong. Like, how if the student only go to UMKC like for maybe summer program or just like they want to
Sure, I think
study for the short time?
so. Like I said before, we have about 1,200 international students at UMKC, Dimas. We have a very large international community inside Kansas City. And there's lots to do. The good news about Kansas City is it's 2 million people, but it's very spread out. It's easy to go. And if you want to go to the soccer games, if you want to go to the theater, if you want to go to a baseball or football game, you can get tickets and do those things, professional sports. It's very easy to get to the grocery stores and shopping, 10 or 15 minutes from the campus. Most students live within 15 minutes of the campus walking distance. And the international community is very, very welcoming there. It's very safe. Oftentimes in the United States, it doesn't sound that way, but it's very safe. With the recent elections, things will probably get a little bit easier for most international students to come. So everything is good.
Yes, and also for international students, maybe you all know Super Bowl, right? Super Bowl is kind of worldly known as a big event. Actually, last year our football team, Chiefs, win the Super Bowl champion. So that's exciting. And so ISAO take the international students to watch football and also baseball. Our baseball team is also champion in 2015. Right. And also we have international culture night. So the students from India, from China, from Pakistan, and all different countries will have a show together. So it's fun, and all the international students should watch it. So the city's vibe, from my perspective, I think is very kind and welcoming. If you walk in New York City, I used to kind of travel in New York City several times and nobody say hi to me. Everyone is super busy. It's basically a big city, right? But if you walk on the street in Kansas City, the people here will say hi to you, wave to you. So it's very kind of kind neighborhood. So you would love Kansas City, yes. And everything is cheap here, yes.
So
I have a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry.
the Midwestern life, we're not as hectic as the cities, New York and Los Angeles and San Francisco. We have all those opportunities and a whole lot cheaper and a lot less stress. It's a great place to be.
Yes, and I have a little bit add on because I was a UMKC student too. I studied there. And because UMKC is really close to the downtown and you can really easily get to the main part of Kansas City. And especially we have First Friday in every single month, like a lot of art, a lot of people gonna crowd together to celebrate every First Friday in every month. So there's a lot to do for people to get info in the community. So there's actually quite a lot to do for international students there.
Okay, another question I see here. Is there any scholarship for this program?
Well, of course, there's the Dean's International Scholarship. That's $8,000 that is automatic for every international student. Beyond that, there are some limited amount of scholarships, but it's really those are based on performance. So you need to come and work and do well at UMKC. And then, as Juan mentioned, there are several opportunities to be a grader or to work at the library or to work on campus at the bookstore that you can make some extra money. And then once you're here for a year, then you can start actually working in companies and making money. So that's really the best. The Dean's International Scholarship is just automatic, and that's $8,000 every year until you finish.
In Truman, yes, you already explained that actually the student will automatically get the deduction fee, $8,000 per year, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but I think the students want to know about more opportunities of the scholarship. And I think earlier Ms. Huang already explained about the third party of the funding institution, like you also mentioned NASA and the other institution. So later, can you please give like more detailed information about it, like how the students can apply to that third party funding institution?
Those you
Is
can
that
apply.
possible?
Mari
Those are
ditelepon Sopi
mostly going to go to
Peleter.
PhD students. It will
Udah
go to a
ditelepon
limited
Sopi
number of
Peleter.
master students.
Udah
But
ditelepon Sopi Peleter.
they need to come for a semester
Angkat
before
nih.
they would have a chance to get onto one of those research projects. The faculty will want to see their performance and they will want to see how they do in the classes before they would give those scholarships to those people. Those are very competitive. So the best thing the students can do is, and it's research, very specific goals attached to it. So the best thing those students can do is come and perform well, get to know the faculty, and then possibly get on one of those research contracts. Okay.
But when you think competitive, actually, from my points of view, it's not that competitive because we have students who join 3+1+1 program. She's only the undergraduate students and then study at UMKC at her senior year. And then she decide, oh, why I do a master degree? I want to do PhD degree. And then during the senior year, her faculty kind of know her. She transferred to be doctor already, like going to the doctor degree directly. And then not only get her all tuition fee waived, but she can actually work on some research. Yes. So it's to me, I think it's competitive. But meanwhile, if the students would like to communicate with his or her faculty and then kind of work hard. So I think for UGM students, that won't be that competitive.
Well,
Hopefully.
I'd love to say that that is the definition of competitive one. They worked hard, they communicated, they did well in their classes. I think that, you know, if you do those things, people will notice you and you will get opportunities, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. No doubt about that. And for those students that are working hard and do those things, those research contracts turn into sometimes 3 and 4 years worth of funding for a PhD student. And it's very lucrative, quite honestly. Sometimes, one last thing though, that sometimes there are short-term research projects where they're looking for someone for just a semester or two. That happens once in a while, but once again, there's no real guarantees. We can't guarantee that to someone. So.
Yeah, because I think about this tuition fee is the main concern of the students. So we hope later you can give like more detailed information about all of the possible funding sources. And
Yeah.
I think about that financing is the most important concern of our students.
So let me just address that for a second. And this is one of the advantages of like the 3+1+1. Eventually, if we get to that point, if a student, when a student graduates from UMKC and is able to stay for practical training, OPT, they will be making probably somewhere close to $60,000 to $65,000 a year. Okay. And if you think about that, they have just paid $20,000, maybe $15,000 to go to school. So after 1 year, you've paid that back and are starting to make a significant amount of money because you get to do this for 3 years, right? So in the United States, engineering is one of those professions where the students may accumulate some debt, but they will pay that off very, very quickly if they stay in the United States and work for at least a year or two. I know that some of your students won't be able to do that. That's the one issue that you might think about. But the average starting salary for our engineers is right about $60,000 to $65,000 per year. So, yeah. So
thank you.
Yeah. So it's all kind of relative, isn't it? Right.
Yes.
I think
Is there
that
any
would
more
be good for the
students who want to
students
ask
if they
question?
can,
Sorry?
if they can study and work. I mean, like
Yeah.
it would be good for the student if they can study in UMKC and they can also work there.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, in Kansas City, so it might be easier for them to earn money and pay for the tuition.
Absolutely.
And and I want to help. Maybe there's another question. Like, is it possible to get another scholarship? I mean, like they automatically get the international scholarship that you mentioned before, and then how if they want to get another scholarship, like maybe Fulbright or another scholarship that offer for like for everyone, like is it possible to get that too,
So
like
surely they can go
to
out.
having double scholarship?
Oh yeah, they can absolutely. If they can find a different way to find other scholarships and bring those with them, that's not going to impact the Dean Scholarship. They will get that regardless, right?
Yes.
So if they found another benefactor or a foundation that was going to give them another $7,000, they would be getting $15,000 off, right? So we're not going to stop that in any way. It's just that once we give 8,000 at UMKC, it's going to be very competitive to get the other smaller scholarships that we have to offer or to get on a research project. It's not going to be automatic, right? The 8,000 is automatic. Right? That's a done deal.
So hopefully the students also can try to get another scholarship,
Absolutely.
and it doesn't impact the Dean International Scholarship, so don't worry.
Not a bit. So, you know, if Dr. Andreas wants to give you $10,000, then that's
Yes,
I'm trying to
Dr.
see-
Andreas will be the one who gives the $10,000.
I wanted to see if he was awake. He's still awake.
Keep away from Dr. Andreas.
Yes.
Is there any more students who want to ask questions?
We would be absolutely thrilled to have any of you as students at UMKC and any of the faculty that want to join us to come visit and or spend a semester or two with us. We'd be thrilled to have you, any of you.
Biaya kuliahnya berapa, Mah?
Yes.
300 juta per
Is there
tahun.
any question? Any other question?
Di sini.
Ada yang mau tanya?
Double degree.
Onward,
Mana tuh? Di
Onward
US.
Manurung, Reinhardt,
Amerika.
dia.
Di Kansas.
Ada yang masih mau tanya nggak?
Introducing.
Sekalian practice
Pengenalan.
mungkin ya Bu.
Oh.
Iya.
Orang Indonesia juga yang bulan.
Ayo silakan
Pakai
kalau masih ada
bahasa
yang
nggak?
mau tanya.
Mereka tuh kerjasama mau game
Pakai
sama
bahasa nggak apa-apa, nanti diterjemahkan dari
Iya.
lagi itu.
Missiory
Kalau ada
Kansas
yang mau
ini.
tanya dalam bahasa Indonesia silakan nanti bisa kami bantu untuk
Emang
translate.
program mereka?
Yes, you can ask in bahasa and we can help to translate. Okay.
Okay, Novia and Intan, how many
Ayo
different
pakai inilah.
dialects do I have to
Pakai
learn in Indonesian
apa
language?
sih?
How many-
So many.
So many, so many.
Yeah, like for example, I'm from Java, so I have that dialect. But from like for people from Sumatra Island, there will be different. So we all have different dialect.
That's what I thought. So
Yeah. Any other questions?
Silakan
Oke.
siapa lagi yang mau tanya? Ada yang mau tanya nggak?
Yeah, or
Mungkin
if
ada yang
you have
masih. Ya.
further questions,
300 juta
maybe
per
can
tahun.
ask Dr. Intan also, right? And also
Yes.
contact me or
Yes.
Joey.
Besok
And
letter aja
I would
ribut.
like to help the students in UGM also to answer all the questions later. So maybe I think, yeah, what an insightful webinar. And our greatest appreciation for Dr. Intan, who has given extraordinary efforts for this event. And greatest thanks to the speaker, Professor Joko, and Dr. Andreas, Dean Truman, Miss Ding, Joey, and yeah, thank you all the participants who have joined this webinar. I think we can close this webinar right now. Maybe is there any speech or comment from
I was just going
you
to say
all?
thank you to Professors Joko and Andreas and the rest of the faculty for having us again. We do hope we can get some kind of research going on between the faculty. I think that helps bridge that gap. It will help bring those students back and forth. We will do everything we can to make it possible for the students to come to
Tapi mah
UMKC and be
baterainya nggak masuk
successful.
dalam.
Thank you so much for inviting us. We appreciate it.
Baterainya kurang masuk
Okay,
dalam.
thank you, Dr. Truman. Dr.
Thank
Fong,
you so
thank you,
much.
Dr.
Miss
Kakak.
Joy.
Thank
Miss
you.
Joy, Miss Wan, Miss Novia. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
you
you.
all. Good
Everyone.
morning and good evening all.
Enaknya di
See you
luar
next
aja,
time.
dalamnya nggak dalam.